Hello everybody, welcome to my introduction on Microsoft Teams. Now, Microsoft Teams is the new way that the university is beginning to move to for providing your information. Moodle is going to slowly be phased out from your main platform of contact, although it will remain. I ran a unit last term as a pilot study for IT using Microsoft Teams, and the students loved it. They thought it was far better than Moodle. They got far better communication with me, and generally the results that we achieved had gone up slightly, so it actually helped people's achievement. So let's have a little look at it. This is just an introduction. We learned to use it during the tutorial of week number 1. Let's have a little look over here. So we will start off when I can remember how to use my PowerPointy thing. And it's not working. Oh, I know why it's not working. I clicked the wrong button, didn't I? There we go. So Teams is it's obviously a Microsoft product, and it allows us to communicate and collaborate together almost as if we were in the same classroom or lecture theatre. You get fairly quick, if not instantaneous, responses from each other and myself. All the necessary resources and that will be provided to you independently. I will go through that with a slide in a minute. But your first questions are obviously going to be along the lines of basically Microsoft Teams itself. We're using it in this unit and increasingly in other units to basically in place of Moodle. As I said, you get a much better communication and understanding in a minute. You can talk to yourselves as well. Resources, you don't have to go and search for something anymore on Moodle. If I think the resource is essential for that week, I will send it directly to you. Each of you will get an individual notification that it's been sent through Teams, through the chat area, which is very similar to a messaging app on your phone. By the way, Teams works on your laptop, your tablet, your desktop, your phone, works on all of them. That's quite a useful thing to use. Moodle has to remain at the moment for us to use because it's the only way you can submit your assignments into Turnitin and then submit them for marking. That functionality has not been provided in Teams yet, but I will remind you of that as the time arrives. Oh, and that's also where you have to apply for an extension of time, but I'll let you know that, and you can just ask the question through Teams if you wish to. First on, most important question for you is how do you get Teams? It's fairly straightforward if we look here. It's available to all students as part of your Office 365 bundle that you're provided with. It's a desktop app that's on all CQU computers. Go in a computer lab, it'll be there. To access it from the web, which you can do as well, you just browse to teams.microsoft.com. The Teams app, if you haven't already got it on a uni computer, you want it on your computer, you can just download it straight from teamsmicrosoft.com/downloads. Doesn't take very long to do at all, and they've got versions for Windows, Linux, Apple and Android, so it should work on every device you can possibly have. And when you've got it there, you sign in with your university email address and password. Okay, so make sure you don't try and sign in with a private email. It has to be the CQU email and password. Again, how do you get it? I'll just enlarge this one. There's a direct link provided to Microsoft Teams from within your Moodle site, because some of you may be more used to using Moodle at the moment. So if you go into Moodle, you should always keep going to Moodle, but we're not going to be using the chat forums, the questions in this, it'll all go through Teams. If you go in there, you'll notice that up here, it will tell that you're currently connected to the office and you've got a Microsoft Teams app here. Most of us tend to keep it running in the background. We download it as the desktop app or whatever, and you just get pings when things are happening, so you don't have to worry too much. You won't miss anything. How is it structured? It's basically a collaborative space. It's like a virtual lecture theatre, a virtual classroom. Your unit will have a Microsoft team to it. Channels, which I'll explain in a second, they're basically topics of conversation, like chat rooms. It's like using Messenger or anything like that, or even Facebook to a degree. Channels are grouped by the weekly topic, so they reflect the old Moodle structure. You'll see tutorial groups are in there, and then general chat. You can talk about what you want, and I'll show you a quick look in a minute at the one that I've been running last term 1. So get into it as quick as you can, play about with it. Go on YouTube and YouTube Microsoft Teams, and you'll see people showing you how to use it. Don't just wait to bumble through with my technically incompetent help. But when you do start Teams, you'll find this panel here. It'll look just like this when you get to it. And this is the section, so this is where you'll see the individual weekly subjects amongst general chats, etc. There's a channel. This bit's known as the app bar, which you can just go and have a play with, because I tend to do most of that for you. Up here, the tabs, so you'll have general, which would be the chat thing. There's one there I can see is files. That's where documents are going to be put for you to download if you need to. And they can expand and add extra ones. You may ask me to add an extra one if you want. Last term, the students wanted to talk about different units to my one. So I set them up their own little tabs so they can talk about their other units. And I wasn't really interested in those, but they wanted to use it. There's a command bar there. These are the conversations going on. That's the click when you typed in your conversation in the compose box. Then you hit the send icon. Ding ding, and you can join or create, but I tend to have to do that for you. Very simple, looks like most Microsoft products really. The Teams interface itself, you've got that app bar at the top, that's where you can navigate from. There's activity, that's where you'll find if you've been mentioned, if people have replied to you, or other notifications, like, oh, don't forget the assignment's due in this Friday, or whatever. And it could be notifications from other students, not just me, the lecturer. Chat, that's where everybody loved it last term. You can watch people having one-to-one or group chats and talk about other units, talk about what you want on there, just like you're sort of like messengering and whatever, SMSs. Teams, that displays all the teams you're a member of. You may well be a member of more than just this team. You might have 2 or 3 units that all use Teams, and they'll all appear as a team, and you pick the one you want to go and look into. Meetings, if we arrange meetings through Teams, then it will synchronize with your Outlook calendar if you're using that. Files, all the files that get uploaded into Teams will be stored there, so you'll find that builds up with more and more information, although I do send it to you individually. The ... box, that's links to apps that work with Teams, and that can be questionnaires and quizzes and things. Store, that takes you to the apps and services that you can download and integrate with Teams if you want to use something, because you can personalize your version of Teams. You don't have to let me do it. And feedback, well, that's where you can tell Microsoft how wonderful they're not. Did I say that? I didn't mean to say that. Carrying on with your interface here, you've got your Teams section, as I said above. That's where you'll find the units that are using Teams. I even have a unit on mine for my family, because my sons and my wife and my father and that, they've all got it on their phones, and we use it instead of messaging now. A channel is a dedicated section in a team, so that's going to be most likely going to be your weekly subjects, week 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or whatever. You can join or create a team. So you, when you've downloaded Teams, you can create your own team for your own group if you want to. There's nothing stopping you doing it. The new chat button, you click that and then up comes chat and you can start playing about with it. The command bar, that's where you do searches and helps and where's this and can you find this file. And the tabs, they switch between different pages and conversations. It's not as complicated as it seems to be at first. On here, you've got the channel conversations. That's all the conversations in the channel you've picked. Now, last term, the students only used the general channel, talking about every week's subjects and every assignment, where it would have been better if they had used the channel in each week to talk about that topic only and kept the general one for general stuff. But we'll try and do that. We learnt that through the pilot study, and it just made it tidier and cleaner for people. You can have vision indicators, as you see there in purple. We've got the at mention. Now that could be at someone's name, and it will only go to that person. When I do it, it's normally at BLAR, whatever the unit name is, and it will send that chat comment to everybody enrolled in that unit. That's how I managed to get hold of all of you individually in one go. And that's how I send out lots of the information that you're going to be using. Compose box, well, that's where you type away to yourself, and the send icon is obviously the send icon. If you don't know where to find something, if you look at the top, there's this command bar here, and you can type in things like that. So, for example, you can enter in the word launch and it will find anything mentioned. You can put someone's name in there, you can put the subject of a message, and it'll find the conversations. So that's almost like your help bar and your search bar, really. Chatting, this is the big thing that everybody liked. They really did like chatting. You get a new member. When you get added to a team, you automatically get access to it and everything that's in it. Okay, so you'll all get access on, I think they're letting us have access to the teams for term 2 on the first day of the term, which means I will be run off my feet because I'm teaching 4 units, and I'll be trying to populate the teams with all the information as quick as I possibly can. But it's still sitting there in Moodle at the moment if you need to go and have a look. So that's really quite good. And to start clicking, you go into compose box, tap, 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 tap. You can put in emojis and animated giffies and stickers. We actually found those really nice because it added more feeling to the comment. So I could say something, and if I put a smiley face on it, people don't get upset. Other people can put a question in face, and I had a couple of people put poos in, but whatever you want to. Just don't upset anyone, really. That's all you need to do there. Sharing files, this is where I will let you have the resources that you need, the essential resources, and also resources that I think are useful, and anything I find during the term which I think is of information will be sent, and it will be sent to everybody, and it's up to you whether you want to read it or not, but there's no doubt that you've had the information. So I've created that. It all goes into this SharePoint, which I don't go near to. I just do it straight through Teams. So the files are uploaded to a Teams channel, so you'll find there's a thing here called files, and you'll find it all in there. But that becomes much clearer once you start using it, and I'll put something in it for you. Meetings and conferences, we can have chats and conversations, which is like messengering. I can't say it today. And that's a great way to communicate, and that's what we used last term. We really only used that, and it was nice and informal. We got on well. Also, Teams can actually give you the full solution here. You can actually have video conferences on it. You can have scheduled meetings on it. You can collaborate on a whiteboard sort of thing. So you can set up impromptu Teams meetings, and I'll show you that in a minute, how we get that. If you want an impromptu one, and a lot of students use this to have a quick 2-minute chat with me. Some of them just talk by, just talk as if it's a phone call. And some of them are using the automatic video, and it'd ring on my computer, and if I wasn't busy with something else, I'd answer it straight away and have a chat, no problem. So if you get an invite to a meeting, you reply to the conversation, and you can click the telephone or the video icon, whichever you prefer. If you take the video, the window opens up like this. You can turn your camera on and off, and you can mute yourself just like Zoom, really. And when you start the conference, off you go. And at any point, you can go over here and you can add other people. So you can end up with 30 odd people in one call if you want to, right? Like Zoom does. But impromptu didn't need to be set up ahead of time. Right, come on. Oh yeah, that's it. That's the end of the slides. Now I just want to share my screen with you, which probably means I have to drag this across here, make it nice and large. Hopefully you can see this. So this is my team, and it comes up, it opens up on what the last page was. So I've reset to Teams, and I'm a member of the digital one. That's the pilot study log, giving me the assistance to use it. Then there's the unit I did last term, and that's what I'm going into. And we have one for our staff building here. Okay, so if I go into the build, this is the subject. Oh, look, everybody wanted to see the new bike I bought. When you open it up here, you can see this is the general one, and this is what most people use. And they went up here to the posts, and they were just nice talking to you all. And I look forward to the next term.